So our lead this hour, we're going to bounce around the NFL. The first stop on this 3-stop destination, we're going to start in L.A., where Charger coach Jim Harbaugh got off to a good start. Chargers played ground and pound, took advantage of Raider mistakes. Raiders actually played pretty well and then faded in the L.A. Heat in the fourth quarter. But Jim Harbaugh explained why he vacated. He did a recent interview here on our air, by the way, and explained why he vacated his gig in the Big Ten. Now, if you didn't hear it, perhaps you were not listening because you're listening now and you weren't listening then, or maybe your city does not get that show, but appearing on Fox Sports Radio's Dan Patrick Show, Harbaugh said that he left Michigan after 9 seasons to pursue his goal of coaching football, he said, at the, quote, highest level, is what he said. Now, Harbaugh, he referenced wanting to win a championship. Remember, the 49ers were in the Super Bowl back before Colin Kaepernick went off the deep end there. But they were in the Super Bowl against the Ravens, and they didn't win. The Ravens won that. So there's a lot to unpack. But let us discuss the question. Jim Harbaugh is saying that he left Michigan for the Chargers to test himself at the highest level. Do you believe him? Do you believe him? All right, so I've got Carpetbagger, Fortune Cookie, and Magic Kingdom. And we will put all of these things together, and it's just going to be, the takes are going to be too hot to handle. The takes are going to be too hot to handle. So to lead off here, I will preface this by saying my first take is that Jim Harbaugh didn't lie. That was part of the equation. That was part of the arithmetic. The challenge is certainly there. The way I would answer this is that Jim Harbaugh gave a version of the truth, but not the whole truth, and definitely nothing but the truth. There was a lot that was left out. It's called a lie by omission. Truth be told, he never planned on leaving the 49ers. I believe that to be true. Do you agree with me on that? That he ended up at loggerheads with management, and he started losing things a little bit. He was upset with the roster moves, and then he wasn't doing as good a job as the front office thought he should be doing. They were fighting over players on the roster, and then so he found Michigan as a safe space, a safe landing space. And remember, he was not good when he first went to Michigan. Not supposed to bring that part up, but there were some dark times for the Wolverines when he first got there. And people were like, what's going on? But eventually he settled in, right? And he's dominated the last few years and has had ownership recently of the Ohio State, much to the disappointment of Dick in Dayton and Justin in Cincinnati and all the other boys in Cincinnati. But he was able to outfox the NCAA. That's the main part of the story, right? When they closed in on his Ann Arbor hideout, he took his rocket ship to L.A., and Harbaugh is a coaching carpetbagger. Unlike his brother, John Harbaugh, who's been in Baltimore, and I don't see John Harbaugh at this point. If they didn't get rid of him a couple years ago, I don't see them getting rid of John Harbaugh as long as he wants to coach the Ravens. Jim Harbaugh, though, it's just a stopover. He'll have success with the Chargers, and then he'll hop back on the merry-go-round because someone will annoy him. He won't get exactly what he wants, and he'll swashbuckle his way to some other NFL outpost or go back to college football once the punishment is over. All right, now furthermore, we go back to the fallout from Monday Night Football, blowout seen by many. Jets wide receiver Garrett Wilson and running back Breece Hall, they came out with strong statements following the gutless performance by the Jets. They got absolutely thumped by the 49ers. Now, Wilson acknowledged that the Jets, he said, are, quote, not there yet. Talk about an understatement. He also pointed out that the 49ers whooped the Jets' ass. Now, the comments by Breece Hall I thought were juicier. I thought they were meatier. And I think that's where we're going to go. So Breece Hall went further. He said, and this is the money quote, the Jets running back said that San Francisco, quote, just played harder than us just played harder than us. Whoa. So let us discuss the question. How do you dissect running back Breece Hall saying the 49ers just played harder than the Jets? So tell me that this is a boondoggle without telling me right to my face that this is a boondoggle. And this is always something that is insane to me, that maximum effort and hustle are a couple of things that do not require elite athletic ability. You don't have to be the biggest, fastest, or strongest. You don't. And typically the one that puts the most effort in has an advantage and can overcome whatever perceived flaws in the talent department they have. And yet, it's a problem. Now, I realize that we're talking about human beings, and human beings are fallible, and that we don't always put the greatest effort out. But this is the first game of the season, and the bigger problem is what an indictment this is on Robert Saleh, the rah-rah motivational speaker coach. If you read the fortune cookie, it says hard work pays off in the future. Laziness pays off right now. And a guy that is an amateur Tony Robbins type guy with all these quotes and all that masquerading as a coach, and you're telling me that he couldn't get these guys to stop loafing around in the first game of the year? They were on autopilot? Really? That the whole bag of tricks, none of them worked the first game of the year? All right, last thing. Now, speak of the devil, and the devil shall appear. Robert Saleh was Mr. Happy Pants the day after. Well, he pretended to be a little down. He also said, though, he gave mixed emotions. He said the Jets getting the defense fixed after they didn't stop anybody, he said, getting the defense fixed is not going to be a problem. Is that the way you see it? No, that is not the way I see it. No, because it's not the talent. The talent is there. It's these guys are lazy. And Robert Saleh, I don't care what, unless you get them smelling salts, or they've all got their contracts. I mean, what are you going to do? Like Saleh, the game was in the Bay Area. He must have stopped in Anaheim, had a connecting flight in Anaheim on his way home, or Orlando. This was a trip to the Magic Kingdom. Destination, Fantasyland, right? I mean, you talk about a public flogging on a grand stage, and maybe I'm incorrect on this, but my take is if you can't get guys to tackle and block with any kind of gusto in a measuring stick game against one of the top teams in the NFL, the first game of the year, with all of the perceived problems that they had in terms of their star player wasn't playing, guys didn't practice that much, they treated training camp like root canal, and you let some no-name running back run around like he was Marshall Faulk out there, really? In an island game. Like, how are you going to get consistent performance out of this team when the games are not in the spotlight? Like, for example, this weekend. This is just a regional broadcast, the Jets and the Tennessee Titans. And so Robert Saleh is breathing fire here. He's playing with fire. He's breathing fire because if the Jets lose, and it's not a guarantee the way they play with a lack of effort, it's not a guarantee that they're going to take down the Titans. And you'd say, well, they'd have an advantage if Tennessee had won that game in Chicago. And there's normally, what you look for, at least from the gambling perspective, is in week 2, you generally like to bet on teams coming off a loss and bet against teams coming off a win. I believe there's only a couple of situations this weekend where that happens. But generally speaking, as a rule of thumb, the team that loses plays better in week 2. The team that wins doesn't play as well. And so this game, the Titans blew a 17-0 lead against the Chicago Bears, and their head coach said, well, we should have probably just punted every time we got the ball. We would have won the game. So if the Jets lose to Tennessee this weekend, then they've got a quick turnaround. I believe they play the Thursday game in week 3 against the Patsies. Should they lose that game, am I wrong in thinking that Robert Saleh will be working for the NFL propaganda television network by week 6, week 5, week 4? That he'll be collecting unemployment. Now, I do not buy that Bill Belichick is going to take a job during the season. However, it's not out of the realm of possibility, right? I don't think it's going to happen. The idea that Rodgers and Belichick would work well together seems a little far-fetched, but the Jets believe that they're a sleeping giant, and if they lose the first 3 games of the year, it's the SOJ, same old Jets, and then watch out.